5 ways in which you can reach 100,000 Rand in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is MJ Givens Khasi, and today I just want to talk about these 5 ways. These are ways that can help you reach this milestone. Look, maybe some of you are always having money coming in on a monthly basis, but you never see where this money goes, right? Maybe it can come in a form of a salary, or it can come in a form of a pay from your business, or it's just simply income, that is coming from your business. When you take your gross income and you are left with your net income, you have money coming in, but before you can even reach the last day of the month, money is gone. So what are the ways in which you can reach this 100,000 where this is the money that is on the sideline and there's not much really going on with that money? I want you to stay tuned, and you know what that time it is. I want you to like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we drop another episode. Well, I've been there. It is something I was struggling from for the longest time, right? So I would usually find myself in a position where money is coming in, money is going out. I cannot really have some money on the side where I can say I can venture into something new because I have 50,000 or 20,000 or even possibly 100,000 on the side, and I can venture into a new business or enter into something else, right? Because I never had savings. Some people have savings, which works out good for them, but the question will be, what type of a savings would you be having when you have that kind of money lying around? Like today, I just want to explain these 5 things, and whether you take it in a form of you want to reach this 100,000 in a quick way, or you just want to take the normal approach, it is totally up to you. So let's have a look at the first thing that will help you to reach 100,000 in South Africa, right? Which is having an emergency fund. This is very important because remember, let's say you are having a certain income coming in. What do you utilize that income for, right? So you don't normally have a budget, and a lot of people have budget. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people find themselves having a budget for it has expenses, it has medical, it has tax, it has entertainment, and so you need to cut off on some things that are necessary, right? So when you're having an emergency fund, you are taking a certain amount of money from your income, right? So you put it aside. Now please don't get me wrong, again, this is not savings. It's called an emergency fund. Some people use this fund for rainy days. For instance, let's say they don't have insurance, right? So from the emergency funds, they normally take a certain amount of money and they fix their car, or they can fix their house, or maybe they can use it for or you don't have a medical aid, right? Maybe you can take some of the money from the emergency fund when your child is sick, or yourself, you are sick. You take from the emergency fund and you take some money there and utilize it for those kind of things, right? So always have an emergency fund, but this emergency fund is going to make sense when I reach the 4th point, right? So for now, let's leave it with emergency fund. So make sure that you have an emergency fund and you always put some money. It doesn't have to be a lot. You can say maybe 5-10% of my net income, I put it on the emergency fund. That way I'm going to reduce maybe a bit on entertainment because I want to put some money away, right?
When I started trading, there were not so many options out there when it comes to brokers. Well, as a full-time trader, speaker, as well as a streamer on YouTube, I come across different traders all over the world. And the ultimate question they always ask me is, MJ, which broker do you use and why? My answer is always simple to them. I use Octa because of the Octa's ecosystem gives and offers everything a trader needs. Not only do they provide fast withdrawals to seamless integrations, you have a community that is always out there for you. As a trader, remember, you don't need disruptions. All you need to focus on is on your trading journey. Also, there's a hype in crypto right now. There's a volatile market that is coming in the crypto community and in the crypto space, and people want to take advantage of the volatile market that we see currently. Look, you don't have to look no further. Octa is here to provide that for you. There are a lot of crypto assets and cryptocurrencies that you can trade. Just have a look at the list that Octa offers here. So many that you can look at and you can take advantage off. Not so many brokers offer so many cryptocurrencies that you can trade. Not only did Okta provide fair trading conditions for me, but they've also helped me grow as a trader. And I know they can do that for you too. Why don't you sign up today? Use the link down below, sign up and fund your account. And if you need 100% bonus, use this promo code Trade with MJ and you will receive your 100% bonus on your deposit. See you on the other side. Cheers.
Number 2, try by all means to attack your debts, right? Debt consolidation. So there are 2 types of debt payment plans, right? So there's what we call a snowball debt payment plan, and there's what we call an avalanche. So a snowball debt payment plan is when you try to cover the smallest debts that you have. So maybe let's say you have a loan, you have a credit card, you have a revolving loan, you have an overdraft, and you're like, okay, fine, out of the loans that I have, the smallest one that doesn't take a lot of money on monthly basis is maybe your overdraft, right? So you try to pay off that overdraft as soon as you can, right? That is called the snowball approach. However, the avalanche approach is when you try to tackle the debt that has the highest interest rate, right? So from your credit card, your revolving loan, and your personal loan, you find that your personal loan has the highest interest rate. What you then do is you try to attack that as soon as possible. So if maybe you are paying a certain certain amount on it, maybe you can try by all means to increase it just a bit. So maybe you pay 500 for this loan. It's just an example, right? Maybe you pay 500 for this loan on a monthly basis. Instead of paying 500, maybe you say, let me pay 1,000. I want to double it. Or maybe I pay 800, 700. Well, it's up to you. But the concept here is you trying to consolidate your debts as soon as possible, right? Try to cover your debts, because debt can be an enemy to success at times, where you cannot find growth because you are handling the things of the past, right? So try by all means to handle your debts as soon as you can. Number 3, this is the most important one out of all 5 of them, is find I call it a middleman business. Now, what is a middleman business? This is a business where you don't have to be coming in with resources like capital. You can use your expertise into something. You can use what you have. And I always talk about this. Please check out my previous episodes where I normally talk about being a middleman, right? You have a good Instagram page, you have a good Facebook page, you have a YouTube channel, and you're like, how can I advertise on behalf of people? Or maybe you don't have a social media account at all, but you're good at negotiating, right? And you can see a need, right? You see a need. People need certain things in your workplace. People normally talk about winter is coming, and they want to buy winter clothes, and they don't know where they can find winter clothes because things are expensive. Then what you then do see is that you see a need, and you go look for a supplier that can supply these winter clothes for the people at your workplace. You are the middleman. If a coat is being sold for $250, you put your own markup there, and you become the middleman, and then you sell that to your colleague at work. And you know, sometimes you don't even have to have a cash or any capital at all. The minute they pay the supplier, you tell the supplier that, look, from the amount that you are getting there, mine is this much, right? A plumber, I told you last time, check out the video as well, how I was able to get into the pest control business. I didn't have a license for that, but I had a market for it, right? I was just a middleman connecting the pest controller and the clients, right? And I was getting my percentage. So when you scale in and you want to get more money, right, like reaching this 100,000, you always capitalize on being the middleman. It can be anything. Get on YouTube, look at what is it that you can do on the side where you can be a middleman and you are not required. It can be anything. Look, people are always in need of a service and they don't know where to go. But if you know people that are good in providing good services, look, be a middleman and just connect the two people, get your percentage, and you are more like a broker, right? That is what brokerage is all about, getting those small commissions for connecting two people, right? The consumer and the supplier, right? Now, number 4 is also important because it goes in line with what I spoke about on number 3, and it also gets us back to number 1, right? So remember, you're having an emergency fund, right? Don't forget that. From that emergency fund, try to take at least 50%. Now, this is business, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you have to, not even sometimes, most of the time you have to make decisions that are not making sense, decisions that can either make you or break you, right? I know the emergency fund, it was for your kids, it was for when somebody's sick and whatnot, but we are not talking about that now. This is now business 101, right? You take 50% from that emergency fund, right? You are now scaling in on number 3. Remember, number 3 is you being the middleman, right? So let's say you are a middleman in providing services for the end consumer from a certain supplier, right? Now you want what we call visibility, right? This is where now you say, I want to do marketing, I want to drive to clients, I want to meet up with more clients so that I can introduce my business to them, right? I want to create a website, I want to get a phone for the business. Now you take 50% from the emergency fund. You are now investing it in number 3, right? Because you want visibility, you want more clientele, right? Now money is coming in, because if it's just a word of mouth, sometimes word of mouth is not enough, right? But if you're taking 50% from the emergency fund, maybe you can even hire someone to do a website for you. You want a domain where you can have a professional email address where people can contact you. You can have, even depending on how big your business is, you can even have a small office where people can do consultation, where you know that you are acting as a middleman. And you know, some people don't even mind when you even tell them that you are a middleman, because that's work, right? So they have to do, it has to come with appreciation for your work, because you are utilizing your resources, right? So 50% from the emergency fund for visibility, right? To scale in your business. Now that's number 4. The last but not least, now number 5 is also important because it goes back in line with number 1, right? The emergency fund. That's why I said, as I go on in the video, it's gonna make sense why the emergency fund is important, and there's no need to use it for other things, right? For those of you that are trading, take 50% also from the emergency fund. Now you'll be making money from number 4, right? Remember, you are scaling in, you are giving yourself some time to make money from number 4, and you've scaled in from the 50% that you got from the emergency fund. You still have the 50% again from the emergency fund because you took 50, right? Take the 50% that is left and open a trading account, right? When you open a trading account, you can start with the 50% plus the money that you've been making from number 4, which is scaling in on the number 3, which is then being the middleman. I hope all this makes sense, but you know, when you write them down, I always say write down these things that I always talk about, and can be anyone for that matter. Whenever somebody speaks, write down things in other, so that it can make sense at the end of the day, right? So you are making money from number 4. You scaled in from the 50% from the emergency fund. You are taking the 50% that is left from the emergency fund. You are putting it in your trading account. Now you are trading with the 50%. You are also trading with the money that you've made from number 4, because you are now the middleman. And remember again, now number 2, which is now paying your debts, right? The quicker you pay, depending if you're gonna go for the avalanche approach or you're gonna go for the snowball approach, depending on how quick you cover those debts, you will always have money coming in, and money is not going into debts, right? More money is coming in. More money is also coming in from the sales that you've been making as a middleman. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the quickest way you can make 100,000 rand in South Africa. Yes, there are millions of ways you can do this, but with me, this is what I could think of at the back of my head, and these are the things that I've used in my life. If you've been following my journey, you would know how I normally take these small steps and make money. You know, the power of compounding, right? Money comes in, take a bit here, invest there, put in there, you find this money growing, and at the end of the day, after 6 months, you're like, whoa, I just have 100,000 sitting in my account, and by just doing small things, right? I always say this is one of my favorite quotes, right? Don't arrive before you depart. Baby steps, right? Take it baby steps. eventually you will get there. And remember, when you are trading, you must also bear in mind that trading is risky. You might lose all this money that you've worked on for number one, number two, number three, and you put in the trading account, you lose all the money. Yes, it's possible. That's why it's called business, right? It has to come with a risk. But what if it works out? If your approach is well risk calculated, then you shouldn't worry about losing all the money. And if you know how to trade, obviously you would know that the trade is risky, and you lose some, you win some. But I always say this: when you win, make sure that you win more. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Please, on the comment section, please let me know which one you think is gonna work for you. Out of the 5, which one do you think you can even change it, right? Maybe in the order that I've made it, you can maybe take number 3 and put it on number 2. Well, it's all up to you, as long as it makes sense based on where you are in life at that particular moment, right? So I would like to know your thoughts on the comment section. I like it when we engage and talk about this type of things, because it gives me an idea of what I need to talk about on my next video. Could you please suggest what you want us to talk about on our next video, so that we can give you a content that you consume, that you are well aligned with, right? We don't want to give you irrelevant stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I also want to take this time to thank also the sponsor of this video, which is Okta. I also want to encourage you guys to join our live streaming live market madness on weekly basis, daily basis. We are normally on YouTube on the same very same channel where we do live trading. Thank you. Cheers. I'll see you on the other side.